It is often the case that only after a customer leaves the bank does the bank realize that the customer was dissatisfied. This leads to a loss of revenue and goodwill for the bank. Our challenge is to find a solution by which we will be able to find the dissatisfied customer beforehand and curb attrition by making the necessary changes to our services. The process by which we will achieve this is by using artificial neural networks, which will use several multiple regression techniques to classify customers into two classes, namely satisfied and dissatisfied. Feeding the previous customer data into a neural network using several input factors such as transaction volume, transaction frequency, customer engagement score, etc. will enable the neural network to learn the telltale signs of dissatisfaction. After the neural network has been trained, it will be able to make futuristic predictions as to whether a customer is satisfied or dissatisfied. We shall then feed the current customer data into this using the same input parameters into the neural network. The model will then classify the current customers as satisfied or dissatisfied. After the dissatisfied customers have been identified, a questionnaire will be floated to them to ascertain what exactly the problems are. The questionnaire will have two parts. One generic one in which the overall satisfaction with the bank will be gauged, and another survey based on the product that the client is using. It shall look at the different attributes of that product to pinpoint exactly where the concern of the customer lies. After having obtained the data for different products from the clients, we can analyze the data, enabling us to modify our services in such a manner that we can serve our customers in a better fashion.
Here is a basic flowchart of the solution, from which all the steps can be seen.
I'll go through the basics of artificial neural network, that is ANN model, and methodology that we have used. Before that, I'll try to address why ANN has been used. Neural networks have performed well in business classifications, including bankruptcy predictions. A neural network model has a good ability in modeling and forecasting. The success of the neural network model is attributable to its generalization capability to predict the output for new data after the neural network has been trained. ANN is preferred because of three key features, which are excellent ability to handle noisy data, because in real life situations data will be noisy. Second, good ability to handle missing data. And third, very high predictive accuracy. Let's take an example using two steps. Firstly, we train a child to identify two fruits. The fruit which is round and red is an apple. Here, round and red are parameters. Similarly, the fruit which is crescent and yellow is a banana. Secondly, we ask the child to identify these fruits from a basket containing apples and bananas. The child identifies all bananas based on crescent shape and yellow color, and the remaining ones can be identified as apples. That's exactly how our model works. Firstly, based on historic multiple input parameters like transaction volume, transaction frequency, customer engagement, etc., the ANN learns the pattern followed by a satisfied customer and that by a dissatisfied customer. Secondly, after the ANN is trained, it is fed with current customer input parameters. Using this data, the ANN classifies current customers as satisfied or dissatisfied.
Now that we have established the fact that we are going to use artificial neural network to solve our problem, we need to understand that how we are going to deploy artificial neural network into our solution. Well, there are two ways. Firstly, we can use a software or a tool like Weka, which is already in the market, or we can develop a software of our own to satisfy our needs. The advantage that the software that we are going to make is that it is customizable. We can customize the software according to our needs, and this can give us the best result that we can expect out of it. So now the software that we are going to propose, or the artificial neural network that we are going to propose, have some sort of features that we are going to explain now. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the details of our network, that is the artificial neural network's features. So we are having three layers, namely the input layer, the hidden layer, and the output layer. In the input layer, we are going to feed the neural network 7 parameters. So our input layer will have 7 nodes. The output layer will consist of 2 nodes, because we are going to classify the customers into two sets of customers, namely satisfied customers and dissatisfied customers. And we are keeping the number of hidden layers to 1, because with with increasing number of hidden layers, the computational complexity will increase. Since we will be handling a lot of data, we don't want the computational complexity to increase. Okay, now we are going to talk about the backpropagation method used for training the artificial neural network. We are going to use Newton-Raphson since it is one of the widely used technique. In artificial neural network, what we do is first we assign some random weights to the edges of the artificial neural network, but during the training of the network, backpropagation technique adjusts the weights of the edges accordingly so that the network can give the output accurately and the efficiency of the neural network increases. Now we will discuss in detail about the input parameters of the neural network. We will collect the data from the bank database, then we will pre-process the data and we will feed the data into the input parameters of the network to train the network. So the proposed parameters are quarterly change in transaction volume, that is in percentage, quarterly change in working capital amount in percentage, quarterly frequency of transactions, quarterly change in asset under management in percentage, customer engagement score, number of years of association with the bank, number of complaint registered. These are the 7 input parameters that we are going to feed the neural network during the training, and these are the suggested parameters because once we have the data, then only we can do the factor analysis on the data and find out the factors or the input parameters which are highly correlated to the output variable, that is the customer satisfaction. Then only we can zero on the exact input parameters which we are going to keep for training or for testing purpose of our artificial neural network. So now we've discussed the theoretical aspects of the neural network, that means the features of the neural network and how we are going to model our network. Now we need to understand how we are going to use it practically. This system will be automated and we will feed the quarterly data to our network via SFTP protocol. That is, our network will be run once in every quarter so that the input parameters that are gathered from the database pre-processed and feed into our neural network, and this is how practically this network is going to work.
So this way, we segregate a group of corporate customers who are indicated as dissatisfied with the services they are receiving currently. Now, why this segregation of classified and dissatisfied customers is important? Firstly, the mixture of both the satisfied and dissatisfied customers can average out the main problematic areas. So if no segregation, there might be a chance that the main problematic areas might be missed out. Now, secondly, once we have the set of dissatisfied customers, individual attention can be given to understand their problems, work on them, and finally retain them. Now, how to do this? Firstly, these dissatisfied customers could be prioritized based on their engagement with the bank, and then a questionnaire could be floated to these customers to know their problem areas. Now, the questionnaire floating could also be automated, wherein every quarter, when the ANN identifies the set of dissatisfied customers, automatically a computer programmed mail with a questionnaire can be floated to them. A set of questionnaire will then be floated in Likert scale, ranging from 1 to 5, where 5 represents very dissatisfied. The questionnaire will consist of 2 parts, one generic and one specific. The generic part can consist of questions like, are you satisfied with our turnaround time for requests and inquiries? Are you satisfied with the ease of access to service and information channels? Now, the second part of the questionnaire is the specific questionnaire, where product-specific questions will be asked. So, for example, a customer who avails loan facilities is dissatisfied. We can ask him to select the options such as, are you satisfied with the interest rate charged? Are you satisfied with the amount of collateral asked for the loan? Are you satisfied with the time taken to sanction loans? We can then analyze the responses. If say 57% customers say that the time taken to sanction loans is higher and inconvenient, we can drill down into the issue by either meeting the customer in person or having an electronic conversation with them. Once the root cause is found out, we can fix it accordingly.
So summing up, what exactly have we done here? We've detected the prospective dissatisfied customers and fixed their problems beforehand. Manually, it might be impossible to segregate the dissatisfied customers and pinpoint their issues. This system uses both qualitative and quantitative techniques to recognize the problem areas and work on them. Now let's talk about the impact. As per a study, it takes around 5 weeks for a bank to land a new corporate customer, so why not work hard on retaining them in the first place? The working model will provide the following: better customer relations, ease of new customer onboarding due to word-of-mouth advertising, improved image with the corporates, less attrition of clients. It will also be cost-effective as attracting new customers is more costly than retaining old ones.